So thank you very much for having me, and thank you also, PDVL, if I may say, for that very excellent, informative introduction to the practice at the bar and the means of qualification. It sometimes, I think, can feel a little bit daunting for students, all of this business of AETOs, and is it the bar course, and is it the bar training course, and is it the BPTC? And the sort of confusion that sometimes sits around the Inns of Court. So I hope, students, that you are very grateful. I certainly am, for that excellent introduction from PDVL. Okay, so I'm going to go away now. I'll just be in the background. If anybody does have any questions, I am perfectly happy for anybody to interrupt, or you can save some questions for the end. And if there's anything that I don't explain properly, please do just me know. So welcome to the Northumbria Law School bar course presentation. You will see from this first slide that the course at Northumbria is called the bar course. There are multiple names across providers. We and the Inns call our courses the bar course, others refer to the bar training course, others the bar practice course, but they are all the same thing. When you hear a reference to the bar professional training course, that is the BPTC, that is the old course. And I have got no doubt that you will all know lots of students who have undertaken a previous version of the bar course. So this is me, Emma. I am a barrister at New Park Court Chambers in Newcastle. My background is as a criminal barrister. I undertook civil and criminal pupillage before specialising in crime, and I prosecute and defend across the courts of England and Wales, and then became a lecturer at Northumbria University, where I am now an associate professor with an area of expertise around expert evidence and forensic science and digital evidence in particular. So let me just take you to some background on Northumbria University. We are a very old but a very modern university. Just to give you some context, we date our origins back to 1871, but this year, just in the last few weeks, have been named by the Times and the Sunday Times Higher Education Guide as the Modern University of the Year. Now, you don't need me to tell you what an accolade it is to be named a Modern University of the Year by an institution like the Times and the Sunday Times. And it is important, and we'll come back to why in a moment. So where on earth are we? Well, we have campuses in Newcastle, London and Amsterdam, but the bar course is situated in Newcastle. In the very excellent introduction you received, you were advised that when deciding on a law school or bar course, there are a number of factors that you must take into account, and finance, location, programme and industry links were all mentioned. That is exactly right. They are all really important factors. One of the other factors that sits behind that are the old rankings, so the reference to rankings. Is it a Russell group? If not, where is it ranked? And I just want to touch upon that first, because when it comes to bar training, it's not necessarily a Russell group activity. And the reason for that is that it's a very practice-focused programme. And it tends to be the case that it's delivered by non-Russell Group institutions because it has such a modern practice focused. And you'll see that across all bar course providers. What I would ask you to think about, if rankings are important, and when I speak to students, it's often students as parents or relatives that are really, really interested in rankings. So I'm going to deal with that quickly first so that we can put it out of the way. And you can be persuaded quite happily that Northumbria is an appropriate place in those rankings and in terms of global recognition. So turning to the most recent first, it is the matter that I referred to just now. Northumbria Law School is part of a university that has been determined to be the Modern University of the Year by the Times and the Sunday Times. Now, that accolade has not fallen out of the sky. It is part of an ever-increasing trajectory for Northumbria University. So that was this year. Last year, we were named by the Daily Mail in their inaugural event as the Research University of the Year and also the Modern University of the Year. And again, that reflected the previous year where we were named Times Higher Education University of the Year. I won't take you back too far with these accolades because I think they make the point. And we are the largest law school in the northeast of England with a national and now international reputation for excellence in exactly what it is that you want to do. That is professional postgraduate legal education. The facilities that you will be taught in were recently ranked as one of the top 50 most impressive law school buildings in the world. That is where you will undertake your professional training in authentic classrooms, one of which is an actual courtroom lifted from a courtroom building that was decommissioned. And those are the circumstances and the facilities in which you will be learning. So more broadly than the bar course, we have a very strong research background. In 2013, we were awarded the Queen's Anniversary Prize for our Student Law Office. Now, the Student Law Office is incredibly important and speaks directly to the industry links that were mentioned earlier in the presentations. The Student Law Office is exactly what it says on the tin. It is a law office run by students. That Student Law Office has managed over the years more than 7,000 cases, represented more than 3,000 clients, and has had the benefit of 1.6 million funding since 2005. In that law office, you have an opportunity to act as a lawyer on behalf of real live clients. You will have that opportunity if you are an undergraduate student at Northumbria Law School, but you will also have that opportunity if you undertake the bar course LLM available at Northumbria Law School. And I'll come on to that LLM in a moment. So let me tell you a little bit about the location, because again, that is very, very important. This is where we are situated in the northeast of England. Location is very important in the UK when you are coming to be a student for a number of reasons. One, is it accessible if you want to get home, or are you effectively in the middle of nowhere, making your trips home expensive and difficult? Secondly, how expensive is the location? And thirdly, is it a happy place to be? Because that is so important when you are any student. It's really important when you are a bar course student. So I'll deal with those in turn. Newcastle is situated in the northeast of England. The airport is very, very close. You can either drive there or be driven there in something like 15 minutes to the airport. You can fly with a number of airlines from Newcastle to KL in particular. When I travel to KL or to Malaysia, which I have the privilege of doing no less than twice a year, I tend to fly via Dubai with Emirates. There are flights, multiple flights every day, and I find that incredibly straightforward. There are other options, but my recommendation is usually that. In terms of finance, the general rule is the further north you go, the less expensive everything is. And it was quite correct in that initial introduction to say that London is the most expensive place to live and study. Newcastle is significantly less expensive, and there are two reasons for that. One, as I said, generally, the farther north you go, the less expensive everything is, and also because Newcastle has two universities in what is a relatively small city. So we have Northumbria University, and across the road we have Newcastle University, and every shop, every restaurant, every cafe, every landlord in the city is fighting very hard for the student pound. And what that does is drive the cost of everything down. So it's perhaps no surprise that Newcastle has been voted #1 city for student life many, many times, #1 destination in the world, top university city, and that comes as no surprise to us. One of the other things is it's a very relaxed place to live. So you do have the opportunity to, outside of the stress of the bar course, very relaxed lifestyle. And I would always also say, and you can ask your friends and colleagues about this, but the farther north you go, the more friendlier the people become. We have very close ties with the industry. And the reason that I show this image is if you look just down the right-hand side, you can see the White Bridge, which is the Millennium Bridge. And then you can see the next bridge along, which is the famous Tyne Bridge. It looks very much like the Sydney Harbour Bridge. For very good reason. And that is about 10 minutes walk from the law school. And you will find there the Crown Court, the Civil Courts, the Magistrates' Courts, and many sets of chambers, including my set of chambers. You will be given a mentor from that legal community if you would like one when you are a student on bar course, and it's difficult to imagine a community of lawyers that is closer to an institution than they are in Newcastle. So, as well as the city being diverse, you have access to the coast, you have Scotland and Edinburgh within easy access to the north. You have the beautiful Lake District to the east and the wonderful Yorkshire to the south, all of which I would encourage you to investigate. And our residences are many and multiple, and they are all in walking distance from the university. When I'm in Kiel, one of the things that students always ask me about, they say, Miss Emma, how far do I have to walk to the law school? And the answer is not very far at all. You will have the opportunity jumped ahead, forgive me, to obtain accommodation, which is very close to where you study. So a little bit then on the bar course. That is me. I'm a barrister at New Park Court Chambers. Sarah Lambert is the programme leader, also a barrister, and recently joined my chambers. You are aware of the overall aims of the bar course because they've been set out for you, but essentially it bridges the gap between academic study and practice. It is the time where you become a professional. It will prepare you for pupillage and chambering and for your life at the bar. So what do you study? They are generally broken down into two areas, and the subjects that you will study will be the same at every bar course provider. You will study advocacy, conferencing, drafting, opinion and legal research. They are all skill subjects, and your knowledge areas are criminal litigation, civil litigation and professional ethics. Now, what I would ask you to pause and think about, and again, PDVL very properly set this out, is that one of the things to think about is the nature of the programme, okay? So those skills and knowledge areas are the same everywhere because they are prescribed by the Bar Standards Board. What is different is how they are taught, and I'll tell you a little bit how we do that at Northumbria. In the old days, and at Northumbria and at other bar course providers, you will find that those skills areas are taught separately. So you will have an advocacy class and a conferencing class and a drafting class, and they will all be separate. At Northumbria, what we do is we integrate all of those skills areas into practice areas, practice modules. What that means is that you are taught family professional practice, civil professional practice, criminal professional practice, professional practice and ethics, and each of those streams or modules will contain all of the skills. So what that means is instead of being taught those skills separately, you are actually conducting a number of cases as if they were in real life, and you will deal with each of the skills as they occur. So by way of example, you will get in criminal professional practice a case. You are representing a defendant. In your first session, you might have a conference with that defendant. In your second session, you might be involved in some advocacy, perhaps a bail application on behalf of that defendant. And what that means is you are not being taught as a student. It means you are being taught as a practitioner, and you will run your own cases exactly as you are required to in real life. So how do we teach those things? Well, we teach them the skills of conferencing and advocacy in particular in groups of 4, no more than 4 students in a group. That will provide you with focused one-to-one feedback. That is really important because I'm sure among you there will be a number of students who are slightly terrified at the prospect of being taught advocacy and having to stand up in a group and begin to learn how to be an advocate. It can be very nerve-wracking because you are very exposed. We therefore teach you in groups of 4. That gives us advocacy tutors the opportunity to develop your confidence in a safe and focused environment. So in terms of the knowledge subjects, and you will know, I think, that the knowledge subjects are assessed not by each individual bar course provider, but by the Bar Standards Board. We are focused on dedicated weekly teaching in both civil and criminal litigation. You are supported by academic tutors who are also practitioners. We teach you and aid you in learning how to deal with those assessments, how to answer the questions as well as the content. And you are also given the option of civil and commercial mediation training to complement that knowledge base. Now, I just want to focus here for a moment, if I may, on the mediation training that is offered at Northumbria University. 2 points to note. Mediation globally is on the rise. There are significant centres now of mediation developing. Mediation is increasingly important in Malaysia as it is in the UK. It is a method of resolving disputes in civil and commercial cases other than by litigation. The mediation training at Northumbria University is of no extra cost to students. It is incorporated into your bar course fees. If you wish to take it, it occurs after your bar course exams. You choose whether or not you want to be involved. If you do want to be involved, you are not charged anything and you will be awarded an internationally recognised qualification in mediation. The reason we deliver that mediation training is the purpose of the bar course at Northumbria is to make you ready for practice. It is not another academic qualification. It is the qualification that will place you in a position to begin to act as a lawyer. In addition to the mediation training, there are multiple practice-focused ready opportunities for you to participate in. That might be vulnerable witness advocacy training, expert evidence training, forensic statistics, practice management, counter fraud, or financial crime. I can tell you that last year I was involved in training counter fraud investigators who will then investigate fraud in various different contexts across the UK. I train those investigators. As part of that training, they are required to undertake courtroom training. So they are involved in essentially mock trials. My bar course students were the advocates in those trials. The experience that they get is second to none. You also have opportunities to build your profile in terms of mentoring, marshalling, practitioner lectures, and mock trial opportunities. By way of example, the National International Mock Trials of 2023, our team from Northumbria won the International Maritime Law Arbitration moot, which is an international moot. They were given the award for best newcomers. One of them was appointed as a junior shipbroker almost directly as a result, and they were then allocated to the Dubai office of that shipping firm. And that student now tells us that they are living the dream. So remember, these opportunities are not just CV builders, they can actually link directly to employment prospects. You will be taught by people who are barristers, you will be taught by people who are judges. Among our bar course teaching team, we have a recorder of the Crown Court, we have a deputy district judge in the civil court, and you will get the benefit of their direct practice background. You will also be taught, as I said, in courtrooms. This is one of those courtrooms which was lifted from directly lifted from a courtroom which was decommissioned, and they very kindly donated the contents to us. The facilities really are second to none, and as the BSB has confirmed, the resources that students are allocated are of the highest quality. So one of the strengths I personally think at Northumbria is the relationship that we have with our students. When you are choosing a bar course provider, one of the things to think about is the size of the provider. At Northumbria, we are selective in relation to the students who are offered a place on the bar course, and we control the numbers so that we are able to offer a personalised, focused bar course to each individual student. At Northumbria, you can expect all of your tutors to know you and to know your name. I did ask one of our students what they thought of Northumbria, in case you are more interested in what they think, and I always encourage students to ask their peers. They concentrated the strengths of Northumbria, the high quality education, the campus, the professionalism of staff, including the fact that many of us are in practice, the fact that we assess you early in some subjects, and also, of course, you can see the final bullet point there, that there is a lot of accommodation near the university. So there are multiple modes of study. It is the full-time bar course that you would be interested in. The fees are 13,200. There is no higher fee for international students. International students pay exactly what domestic home students do, because like home students, international students are an integral part of our bar course community. And also really important to note that there is no additional fee. For the LLM, there's no additional fee if you choose to do the mediation. There's no additional fee for practitioner textbooks, no fee for the qualifying dinner, which is one of your INS qualifying dinners, and there is no BSB registration fee to pay because we pay that on your behalf. And just looking back, if I may, note that you may do the bar course or you may do the bar course LLM. They are the same fee. There is no pressure on you to decide very early whether or not you wish to do the LLM. If you do wish to do that, you can complete an LLM either by a dissertation in the traditional way or the student law office, which I described to you earlier. Whichever you choose, it is a matter for you. You can get advice from me or any other of the team or the office at Mid Valley, and there's no additional fee either way. It's really important when you are considering fees, it's such an important consideration that you work out whether it is an inclusive fee or whether it has additional fees. At Northumbria, I'm delighted to say it's really, really simple. A single fee includes everything, including the LLM and the mediation training. There are significant scholarships available, and I would seriously encourage you to apply. There are 3 full fee scholarships, and there are also scholarships of £5,000 each. The scholarship requirements are what you would expect: academic ability and dedication to a career at the bar. We have had multiple scholars, full fee scholars from Malaysia, so please do not hesitate in applying for these scholarships. Okay, previous Malaysian students have applied, and previous Malaysian students on multiple occasions have been very, very successful. So please do apply. What are our entry requirements? You are expected to have a 2-1 classification, a second upper. You also must be a member of an IN. You are required to be that is equivalent to 7.5. Generally not required. You are only required to sit an IELTS test if we have concerns about your language skills. And from Malaysia, it is very unusual for us to have concerns about your English language skills. What are the deadlines? Well, June 2025 for applications. Scholarship is usually March. Advice deadline, there is none. You can get in touch with me, with the office up at Mid Valley, or with PDVL, and they will get in touch with us at any time. Any question, any query, no matter how small, please just ask. We will give you advice on your application and support you throughout that process. So how do you apply to us? Well, PDVL is your first stop. You can apply through them. There are also direct applications available, but obviously you have less support if you choose that route. Or you can contact our wonderful office up at Mid Valley, or contact me directly on my email address. And I think I've got a little bit of time left for any questions. I know there's a lot of information there. Does anybody have it?
There's a question stated in the chat box.
Okay, so just let me see. Oh, yes, I can see that. How is the course structure? Is it 50% exam-based? It's less than 50% exam-based. That is the same generally across all bar course providers. I'm just going to put my camera back on so I can speak to you directly. With all bar course providers, the way that we assess students is dictated by the Bar Standards Board. So they tell us which skills we have to assess and how. So the skills subject, conferencing, drafting, opinion writing and advocacy, they are all real life skills assessment. So in conferencing, you have to perform a conference. In advocacy, you have to perform some advocacy. Okay, they are all skills based. The exams are in the knowledge areas, that is criminal litigation and evidence, and civil litigation, and in professional ethics. Okay, whichever bar course provider you go to, the situation will be the same. Okay, and when you talk about civil litigation and criminal litigation, you will hear your friends or colleagues talk about the centralized assessments. That is what they are talking about. They are assessments which are set centrally by the Bar Standards Board and conducted by the Bar Standards Board, and every student at every bar course will take those at the same time. In terms of assessments, one of the things to think about is when those assessments take place. At Northumbria, we assess you in some of the subjects in January. That allows you to put those assessments behind you. Okay, so you'll have an assessment point in January and deal with assessments then, and then later assessments in May. One of the other things in terms of structure to bear in mind is that if you choose, and this is a very good question, so thank you. If you choose to do the LLM, you only submit for the LLM after your bar course assessments. Okay, so you'll have some assessments in January, you will have some assessments in May, and only after you have, completed your May assessments are you required to submit the assessed part of your LLM. Now, the reason for that is very simple. The bar course is the aim of the game. The bar course assessments are the most important. You must absolutely 100% focus on your bar course assessments until they are over. And as I always say to students, once those assessments are over, you can go home, you can lie down in a darkened room for at least 3 days, recover, pick yourself back up, have a strong cup of coffee or tea, and then begin work on your LLM submission. Okay, so at Northumbria, although we encourage students to think about doing the LLM, we also encourage you to only focus on the assessed part after your bar course assessments. Does that make sense? And what a lot of students do who've done the dissertation is after the bar course assessments in May, they might stay in the UK and get a part-time job and work on their dissertation, or they sometimes come back to Malaysia and work on their dissertation and submit remotely in September. Okay? Does that make sense?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank